BMAdawg here, and welcome to the 9th episode edition of the Beantown Sports Pound on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sport. We got a big show coming at you today with my Patriots draft preview. Who do I want the Patriots to select after a pre-mock draft? The Bruins had a press conference after this season concluded last week. What do I think of it, and how are they going to look in the future? Your reigning defending Boston Celtics are just about to start their second game against the Orlando Magic. We'll have a live looking at that later. Plus a check-in on our BMAdawg colleges. Our baseball team's gearing up for postseason play, and one of our lacrosse teams has already started their conference tournament. We'll check in both of them. Our Red Sox are looking great again. How are they doing? All that and more on the Beantown Sports Pound. Turn up the sound. It is time for the Beantown Sports Pound. Woo! Welcome, everybody, to the 9th episode edition of the Beantown Sports Pound. Here is the lineup for tonight. We are going to start off with our most anticipating Patriots mock draft preview, as the wait is finally going to be over. Tomorrow night at this time, the Patriots will be picking 4th overall to tomorrow. Are they going to go with Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, Abdul Carter? We'll find out pretty soon. The Revolution are on a roll as they won 2 games in a row. Then we're going to check in on our BMAdawg lacrosse teams, men and women's. And then we're going to shift things over to our 129th annual Marathon Monday. It is going to be, we have some great results, people from all over the world. It is a spectacular that people in the state of Massachusetts have off every year. And then, before they join the finish line, we are going to check in our Boston Red Sox as they're neck and neck for the American League East. We are also going to do a check-in on our baseball teams as well. And our co-headliner will be going over the Bruins press conference that they have, the end-of-the-year press conference with owner Charlie Jacobs, Cam Neely, and general manager Don Sweeney. Am I confident after it? And for your main event of the evening, we'll have your reigning defending Boston Celtics as they look forward to defend their title, as they already won Game 1. Who has impressed me the most, and can they win without Tatum's injury? Now it's time for a word from our lovely sponsors, and we'll get back to our opener with the draft. Stay tuned, folks.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, everybody. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Planet Jerky, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Vital Apparel, where some of their proceeds go to mental health research. Most importantly, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We thank you for watching live, whether it's on your X accounts, YouTube, and Twitch. So feel free to jump on and watch, or you can watch anytime after this. Thank you all. But I am BMAdawg, but follow me on my 2 Twitter accounts, or X, whatever you want to call it. My professional one, the Beantown Sports Pound, at Beantown _ all capitals IESR, and my personal one as well as at capitals BMAD and all lowercase dog, BMAdawg, as we are going to have a great episode tonight. because we got our draft coverage. And as if you follow my personal, I was on a trip on the grandest stage of them all in Las Vegas, which I'll talk about later. And there's a collab going on with that, which I'll get into later on. But we are on the Boston Sports, and we're going to have a kick-ass episode. Let's go. It is time for your opener for the evening. It's scheduled for one fall, and it is the Patriots. Draft day is coming up. But before we get into them, let's go to our comment section. And Ken Rodriguez, our host of our SoCal Supreme Sports Show, and Set Point, our national volleyball show, says, good evening, Brian. Have a great show. Thank you, Terran, for always checking in for us in IE Sports Radio. And the Dodgers are having some competition in the National League West this year, which he probably isn't too thrilled about, but they won the World Series. But now let's get into... And then Ralph Khaleesi, Brian, returned from WrestleMania, Boston-born John Cena champ. Absolutely. We're going to get into a little later where I'll talk a little bit about my trip and where they can catch the rest of my story later on tonight. And now let's get started to action, shall we? Absolutely. It is time for our long-awaited Patriots draft recap. Woo! Preview, my bad. I got a little excited as I am catching up from the West Coast time. I'm still a little jet-lagged, quote, but I promise to give you 100% each and every week, and I am going to deliver on that. And who do I want on the Patriots? Do I want Travis Hunter? Do I want Abdul Carter? Or do I want Will Campbell? Well, according to all these dirt sheets and experts, a lot of people think the Browns have decided on the 2 pick on one of those superstar players. We know it's a de facto conclusion that the Titans are going to select Miami quarterback Cam Ward to their team, which they desperately need a quarterback, and Will Levis isn't it. The Browns have the number 2 pick, and they think they are going to go with either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, which would leave the Giants as the big decision makers because they sit at number 3, we sit at 4. And funny, last year, with that terrible game in the 2023 season, which kind of led us to get Drake May and led them to get Malik Neighbors, is that we lost on a botched field goal to give the Giants to win in the 2023 season, as the Patriots had the 3rd pick last year and the Giants had the 4th, and this year it's the opposite. A lot of the current head coaching staff, which Brian Daboll is surprisingly didn't get the axe in New York, and we all think he doesn't want Colorado coach prime son Shedeur Sanders, but we think they're going to either go with him or Travis Hunter. I do not think they're going to take Abdul Carter. I could be absolutely wrong, but I do think they're going to go with Shedeur, which leads us to number 4. The number 4 pick for the Patriots, as Mike Vrabel has had a defensive mind scheme of his own, which makes it seem like they're going to go with either Will Campbell if he leads 4. But the big decision is that what if one of the quarterbacks will, the 100% likely scenario is one of the quarterbacks will be left out if we don't have Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter waiting. But if it comes down between Abdul Carter and Will Campbell, a lot of people think we should go with Abdul Carter. A lot of people think they're just going to draft Campbell. But in my opinion, though, if you have Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, you should take one of them. I know we desperately need linemen, and Will Campbell from LSU would be phenomenal for us. He does have a great work ethic and would fit in lovely at one Patriot place with Robert Kraft at the helm. But we do need to protect Drake May and Ramondre Stevenson. But what about a dark horse? What if we shock the world and go with Austin Jeanty from Boise State as a running back? As you see in the Detroit Lions with Sonic and Knuckles, no rings attached, with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery has been working wonders for that team. What if we do something like a 1-2 punch with Jeanty and Stevenson, and we got Antonio Gibson in the bench, and running backs get hurt out of every player in all positions. Running backs get the most injured, and they don't have a good shelf life compared to your 2025 car you would buy at a dealership, which is pretty expensive to begin with. You got to treat running backs like their cars, and I wouldn't mind if they went with Jeanty or Campbell, but is he worth the 4th overall pick is what a lot of people in Boston have a tough time Grafson. But who I really want is Travis Hunter. That would be amazing, especially what you see with Ohtani doing in the majors, as the IE Sports radio guys are from Southern California, as he's brought wonders, can hit and pitch like an MF. And I think Travis Hunter would be able to do that. He doesn't want to play if they won't let him play both receiver and cornerback. But obviously, we signed Davis on the Detroit Lions in free agency to go with Christian Gonzalez, who is a phenomenal guy. He would have won Defensive Rookie of the Year, even though Hutchinson of the Lions did end up winning it a few years ago, as he held guys like Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb to under 100 yards, which is pretty amazing in today's game where you need a good receiver. Yes, we signed Stephon Diggs, and we got Pop Douglas, who's supposed to emerge. And do we trade Kendrick Bourne tomorrow night? I saw on a surprise pick that there's a potential draft that the Pats could trade down if Hunter and Carter are gone to the Chicago Bears, who is notable for trading up. They won't have to worry about a blunder years ago that they picked Trubisky and who they sacrificed to get up. But they've been known for making big draft moves, as they've drafted to get Caleb Williams 1 overall from the Panthers, who traded a few years ago to take Bryce Young. But Travis Hunter would be phenomenal. The 2025 Heisman winner would be a killer combo if they double team on Stephon Diggs, or Kayshon Boutte would make a good slot receiver for the Patriots. As you got to give guys like Polk or Baker, who knows if they'll be on our roster come training camp time. We did sign Morgan Moses for the Jets, who Breece Hall was able to emerge for the Jets despite how much of a joke of a franchise they are, not being able to win anything with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. But Travis Hunter would make a great pick for us. And Abdul Carter, if he's there, Vrabel loves pass rushers, and he would make a phenomenal pass rusher, as he did destroy Boise State in their playoff game and was kicking ass in the Big Ten all year long. As I would love to have him on our team, as we could use a pass rusher, especially if guys don't get healthy, even though we did sign Williams from the Eagles, who won a Super Bowl with them this year, beating Patrick Mahomes in the game. As the hype is going to be over. It's going to be all over in less than 24 hours with the first pick. We're just going to have to trust the guys like Vrabel and Wolf to see what they do. I would love Will Campbell too. We do need linemen. But maybe we could get a trade if someone's going to trade up for Shedeur Sanders. Ralph, your team, I know you're watching, the host of our Yinzer Report who commented earlier. I know your Pittsburgh Steelers need a commitment and a consistent quarterback. Are they going to be the ones to trade with us to get Shedeur Sanders? Who knows? The Bears may trade up, or the Raiders could trade up, as since Tom Brady owns Las Vegas now, one of the owners. So I was just in Allegiant, beautiful place. It does look like a dark hole, though, as the Raiders really need a running back after losing Josh Jacobs to the Green Bay Packers. That would be phenomenal for us if we get a lot and we trade down 8 and get Campbell there. There could be McMillan of Arizona is a good receiver, but a lot of people really don't want him. We got Tyler Warren of Penn State, as we do need a tight end of the future. Like, speaking of 15 years ago today, we did draft Rob Gronkowski, and I think that turned out a little okay for the New England Patriots. Don't you think so, folks? As maybe we could get Tyler Warren when no one's talking about it, as he is just like Abdul Carter. He is a great tight end for them, as we could use a great tight end, as Drake May does need another target besides Stephon Diggs, who is coming off an ACL injury. As it's still Buffalo's division, I think the Dolphins are on the way down, as it's not like 2 years ago where they have cake bombs and a cupcake schedule at home where they made your fantasy team, or if you played against Hill or Tua, look amazing in your fantasy games. But they won't have to rely on that, as they're not going to do very well. And the Jets are the Jets. They did trade for Justin Fields, which he does deserve another chance, in my opinion. But it's still Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills division, unless specified otherwise. As I am going to be okay with no matter what the Patriots do tomorrow, as you really don't know the results until we step on after Labor Day on the first game of the season. So don't panic, folks. Hunter would be awesome. He's my top priority. Then Abdul Carter. Then Will Campbell. Then anyone else. I would like Gene T as the other guy I would love to have, or Joe Alt. But those are my top 3 or 4 picks I would like for the Patriots this year. But it should be interesting to see what they do tomorrow, as I'll go in the comment section before we talk about the other team in New England, the Revolution. All right. Taryn Rodriguez says, San Diego, given the Dodgers competition, is great for SoCal. Everyone else, not so much. That is true, as the Dodgers do have competition in the West, as the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll and the gang are slipping up in the NL West, but we will talk about that a little later. Now it's time for the next team we're talking about, the neighbors and co-tenants at One Patriot Place, the New England Revolution, folks. Oh my God, they are on a winning streak, and they've had other players besides Charles Gill score on the team. Isn't that amazing, folks? People were ready to light off the fire seat for Caleb Porter as the New England Revolution won 2 games in a row. Who would have thought that, coming up against the New York Football Club, who he lost 2-1 the last time we played him at Yankee Stadium. Ugh. People do love playing for Charles Gill, as they call him the assist king, but he hasn't really had a chance to make any assists because he scored every single goal coming into last Saturday for the New England Revolution, as he made record books, as he's the Revolution's all-time assist leader when he got his 48th minute cross was finished off by Ignatius Gagano to seal the Revs 2-0 win over New York City Football Club at Gillette. It was his 74th career assist, surpassing former player Steve Ralston for the number 1 spot. And he said, while it was an accomplishment, he just cares about winning more games. And if it wasn't for Gill, folks, they might have not had any wins of the season coming up. And he did help their first goal, as they did play in front of 21K fans. Could have had a better turnout, but with all the sports coming out, they'll probably get a better turnout in the summer. And perhaps, since the summer slowdown's coming up once the Celtic season's over, maybe the Revolution will work their way into the main event the slot. You never know. We got a lot of teams we are going to cover in the summer. We'll get back into that in a few weeks, even though the Red Sox will have some competition for the main event the slot. It won't be handed to them every single week. No. But Caleb Porter is really happy that they've stepped up for Charles Gill and the rest of the players, as they do have a great defensive team. But Leo Campagna scored his first goal this season, and Gill did come in as their only goal scorer, but it was a great 2-0 victory, folks. But the Revolution also made a trade, sending one of their minor league players, the Revolution 2, Noel, got traded to the San Jose Earthquake for some picks and some cash. That should help the Revolution going forward in the season, folks, as they are 9th place in the Eastern Conference. Holy cow, it's amazing what 2 weeks make in soccer, isn't it? Speaking of soccer, one of our new teammates, Jess, is launching an IESR soccer show, which had their first episode this past Saturday. If you want to learn more about a European and our Spanish leagues that make soccer the worldwide top sport, she covers MLS too, as I could learn a thing or two about soccer going forward. But their next game is at Charlotte FC, where the Panthers play, as they need some cheer over in North Carolina, as the Panthers ain't it for that team, as they are the top-ranked team in the Eastern Conference, as it will be a good competition for the Revs to see how Caleb Porter's defensive scheme, is it going to last? Is it going to be consistent? Or are they going to fall apart again? They are 3-4-1, and every win is 3 points in MLS, folks, believe it or not, as the Revolution do look forward to getting some competition, folks, as we are going to move on pretty soon. We are going to talk about our ComAv lacrosse teams, as we do have a lot going on with them, as the regular season is going to be coming to a conclusion soon, folks, as we got our ComAv Lax check-in, men's and women's. BU and Harvard have men teams, and they have women teams, as well as BC Eagles. They don't have a men's team, but they have a women's team, and boy, do they make up for it, folks. All right, men's Harvard is 9-3 of the season, 3-2 in the Ivy League. They ended their season at Brown University before falling to Cornell last week, but the BU team did really well. They defeated Lehigh University 12-5, I believe, as they host Holy Cross. They're 8-7 of the season. They're 8-7 of the season this year as they take on Holy Cross in their senior day. As they look forward to, as Harvard is top ranked in the Ivy League, you've got Jimmy Core leading things for the team with a lot of goals. But we also have our ladies coming up. We got BU ladies who are doing pretty decent, I would say. They're hanging on. They have a losing record in the Patriot League, but they're 8-7 overall. They do host Holy Cross tomorrow night for their senior night as they look forward to ending the season and making an automatic berth in their Patriot League conference. And the other team, Harvard, is 8-6, but 2-4 in Ivy League. They just won their game 20-4 versus UNH, and they take on Columbia on senior day this Saturday. But the real stars of both the men and women is the Boston College Lady Eagles, as they are live right now taking on Virginia, as they destroyed Syracuse 17-2 in their last road game, regular season game, as the ACC tournament has already started, and they could soon have a rematch against North Carolina. A win today would give BC a 16-1 record, send the Eagles into the ACC semifinals, as they'll play every day if they keep on winning until Saturday, I believe. It's their 7th straight win in the ACC tournament. They are 10-11 in the past 11 matchups against the University of Virginia. And every time goaltender Shea Dulce has an over 500 save percentage, they win every game. So she's going to have a ton of saves, and the defense is going to have to step up. But Rachel Clark, the senior, has led BC in all goals this season, and she has 9 points in 2 straight games, folks. That is amazing. And Dulce and Clark has earned weekly honors for their performances against Syracuse, as Clark scored 9 points with a personal high, 8 goals and 1 assist. And Shea Dulce had way over 500% save percentage and 867 save percentage, a personal best, as 8 Eagles earned all ACC status, which is Rachel Clark, McKenna Davis, Eva Lepanto, Lydia Costinalde, Shea Baker, and Shea Dulce. Abby Harold and Devin Russell represented BC in all 8 teams, as they're one of the best teams in the country. Besides their lone wolf loss a couple weeks ago against North Carolina, they are 9-0 this season when Dulce's save percentage is over 5.500, and BC has assisted 63.4% over the last 2 games, as they are going to be unstoppable. No team's going to want to play them. But speaking of not wanting to play, it is time for our commercial break, folks, as we are going to get into the Marathon Monday shortly. You are watching as part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. Here on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene. Here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Cleveland and Columbus sports fans, I've got the show for you. I'm Jen B, host of the Show of the Land right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. You want football? I've got the Browns, the Buckeyes, the Eagles, the Purple Raiders, and more for you. You want basketball? I've got the Cavs and the Charge for you. You want hockey? I've got the Blue Jackets and the Monsters for you. You want football, aka soccer? I've got the Crew and the Crunch for you. You want volleyball? I'm going to unleash the fury for you. You want more Cleveland and Columbus sports? I've got them all for you, from the majors to the minors to the college rinks. Catch me, Jen B, every week on the Show of the Land right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sport.
All right, folks, catch the Bold North breakdown by Glenn Ritter. He does a great job covering all Twin City, Minnesota sports, and I know the Wild are competing against the Golden Knights, whose arena I walked past this past weekend. I know they'll be competing. And you got the Show of the Land by Jen B. She runs a lot of our technical stuff. She does a great job with it. She goes over a bunch of Cleveland and Columbus sports, including the Ohio State Buckeyes. And her Cavs are looking to give my Celtics a run for their money this year in the NBA playoffs. That is crazy to hear. But we are going to start off talking about an annual tradition which has breaks for all of Massachusetts. Obviously, I was away. I wasn't able to attend the finish line this year. But our 129th edition of the Boston Marathon, our annual 26.2 mile race that is compete every year. Not only people in Massachusetts, but you got people around the country and around the world. It's mostly the international people who's been winning all of it the whole time. Marathon Monday is a perfect excuse to get up early, catch the Red Sox game as they start 11 a.m. Eastern time, because most sports don't start till noon Eastern in this country. But that would mean 8 a.m. Pacific time start. It is a great tradition we have in New England. Obviously, there was unfortunate stuff that happened 13 years ago. I don't want to get into the sadness of all of that, but it's made our city strong and resilient every single year. It has over 30K racers. I think approximately 32,080 runners. That is amazing, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. First off, you have to get in a great shape to run it. Don't get me wrong. I am on a weight loss journey. I lost over 40 pounds since last year. Don't get me wrong, but I'm sure as hell can't be running all the time. I can't do even 2 miles. These people have to do 10 or 11 times that, at least 26.2. You have to race no matter if it rains in April. It does rain a lot, even though it is nice and sunny today. Maybe I brought the nice weather with me. Just a thought, folks. But it is a fun tradition people have, cheering on their friends or family as they usually do fundraisers. They try to sell things. They have to raise at least 10K for a nonprofit organization to run. I know last year one of my friends did end up running, and he did finish it, but he didn't do it this year because you have to raise 10K every year, and that's a hard thing to do if you're not backed by a financial institution. Former Bruins legend Zdeno Chara does run this every year, as he does a great job with it. He loves the city of Boston. We love him back running every year. As David Ortiz said after the event, this is our bleeping city. Damn right it is. As 129, that's more than our grandparents, great-grandparents, if you have them. That is more than them. And this has been an ongoing tradition since before most of us were even alive. It is so good. But anyways, let's get into the results, shall we? It is a fun tradition as people from around the world compete in a little over 26.2, all the way from Metro West Hopkinton near the Framingham Natick area to Copley Square, going past the city of Newton, where I do work in. Our men's winner was John Coyer of Kenya running in, as he had a time of 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 22 seconds. That is amazing. What a record. Sorry, that was Shannon Lakoti from Kenya too, but he did run a 2.04.45, or a little over 2 hours. That is still a great accomplishment to run across half the state in that mile. These people are amazing, as they have the nice weather all year round with rain droughts that help them prepare for tough times. And the wheelchair was won by Marcel Hugh of Switzerland of 1.21.34. Obviously, the wheelchair can get you faster, so that's why the times are a lot shorter than 2 hours. And the woman's wheelchair was won by Oregon native Susanna Scaroni of an hour 35.20 seconds. That is a pretty amazing accomplishment of the marathon, folks. It is amazing what ordinary people can do. It is a fun time. It really is, as people come from all over the world. And Courier just won the Chicago Marathon that happens every single year in October and November. I believe it, as his older brother, Wellesley Courier, won the 2012 marathon. As it is a nice day and a nice finish. I am thankful for the great weather these people have. But speaking of the marathon, now we're going to cover our teams that are synonymous with the marathon every single year. That is right, folks. This team is starting to improve, as they may have not had the main eventer this week, as they did have back-to-back main eventers a few weeks ago. It is our team that has high expectations. It is the Boston Red Sox. They are doing really well this year. They have won 6 out of their last 7, including winning ever since they got their asses kicked against the Tampa Bay Rays in George Steinbrenner Field, 16-1. As they are going to travel after tomorrow. They are currently hosting the Seattle Mariners. Julio Rodriguez and Carl Raleigh, the catcher in the game, as they are kind of declining the Seattle Mariners, but they can show it, as Walker Buehler has been pitching out of his damn mind, folks, striking out 8 batters the other day, as they have gotten 3 out of 4 to the Chicago White Sox. Their only loss to the White Sox was an 8-4 on Sunday. And goddamn, I need a celebration shake, as the Red Sox have been doing so well. They do sell there at Comiskey Field now. That is hilarious, folks. Sorry to Adam Karnick, our host of our Chi-Town Weekly show, but his Cubs are doing so well, leading the NL in batting average with Ian Happ in the game, as I hope to try and go see the Sox play at Wrigley. They play them in July, I believe. But we are a month into the regular season, folks. So this brings me to the question, which Sox player is up? Which Sox player is down at the moment? A lot of controversy has been first baseman, as Christian Casas' bats haven't been doing so well. A lot of the team was struggling before coming into the second Rays game, which they won 2 out of 3. A lot of the pitchers were starting to struggle a little bit, unfortunately, as the Red Sox bats have been struggling. But our closer, who won Player of the Week a few weeks ago, Adolis Chapman, has been amazing pickup for the Sox, as he's not always used as a closer, as he does pretty well against lefties to be able to strike them out whenever he feels like he can. The Red Sox have been unbelievable the past 6 out of 7 games, but even before his injury, catcher Connor Juan has struggled, and Carlos Navarez has been struggling too for the Sox. And Jaron Duran his stock is up, has been on an 8-game hit streak, which obviously he had the documentary on Netflix as he overcome some mental health issues. He did win the 2024 American League MVP of the All-Star game last year for his unbelievable performance, as he has been a great outfielder as well. But you got a guy who is a great outfielder, but he's in the middle of stock up, stock down, is Rob Ricefielder, who either comes in for Willier or Abreu, who was our first ever Red Sox Player of the Week a few weeks ago. He has had a hit yesterday, but he's finally slumping after he had that amazing opening day game against the Texas Rangers, hitting back-to-back 2 home runs. But the Yankees are 15-10 right now. As the AL East standings are Yankees first place 15-10, the Red Sox 14-11, Toronto's 500 12-12, Baltimore's 9-13, and Tampa Bay's 9-14. I'm pretty surprised that the Orioles have been struggling, as their hitting is usually pretty damn good in my opinion. So that is pretty surprising for that. But we do have a shocking conclusion coming, as the Red Sox are currently live right now, as they did start at 6:45. Let's take a look into their game, shall we? As they are taking on the Seattle Mariners. Oh my God, they are down 1-0, folks, and they are getting out hit 7-2 right now. As Sean Newcomb has been pitching, he has been doing a phenomenal game, as he struck out 6 so far against the Seattle Mariners, as he's currently facing Crawford. But there was one guy, who else but Julio Rodriguez, has hit an RBI, folks, to get the Mariners a 1-0 lead right now. As who else? I know he's been struggling, but the former Silver Slugger of the Year is a tough opponent. You can't underestimate him. You also got the former Tampa Bay Ray, Randy Arozarena, playing left field for the Mariners, as it looks like Raleigh has struck out one and got walked first. But it's amazing. Newcomb has been struggling all year for the Sox. But speaking of great news for the pitching staff, Brian Bello has returned from his injury. He wasn't really able to have a great... He did strike out 3 and get the win for the Red Sox last night. It is really good to have him back. But folks, but I spoke too soon about Newcomb bouncing back, as J.P. Crawford hits a home run that scores Ben Williamson and Leo Rivas, as the Mariners are up 4-0. Ugh. Just when you thought the Red Sox were going to start a winning streak again, folks, they are down 4-0 and got out hit 8-2, as the lone hits of the night for the Red Sox have been Jarren Duran. His hit streak continues. Hell yeah. And you got Alex Bregman, who's finally finding his way into Boston, a 2-time World Series winner from the Astros. As we still got to be careful, it's still the Yankees division, as Aaron Judge has been phenomenal, and they got Paul Goldschmidt for them, as you can't underestimate the Yankees. I've been saying that all spring training long, folks. You cannot underestimate that team. No. As we are going to continue into the stock down, has been CDN Rafael. He is a phenomenal fielder. As when we struggled against the Toronto Blue Jays, George Springer's been leading the American League in hitting average, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got that big-ass contract to keep him in Toronto when a lot of people wanted him here in Boston. But unfortunately, Cedine Rafaela has been struggling hitting the ball. He is the number 9 cleanup spot hitter, as the expectations were low, but he was one of the guys who had a few hits against the Toronto Blue Jays where it was cold in New England, and the Sox bats didn't show up till that last game where Trevor Story hit a walk-off RBI. But speaking of a story to tell, he has been phenomenal. He has led the Sox in RBIs for the season, but people still want him to be traded. What is up with that? Yeah, he got hurt all year, but you got to give these guys a chance. He's still playing. He hasn't gotten injured yet this season. Yeah, maybe the spring training, but he is keeping things simple. He is doing a great job for the Red Sox, as he's been one of their consistent batters. Devers has had on and off game, as he went 0 for 18 to start the season, folks. But he's already hit 15 RBIs, Trevor Story. It's been a great shortstop. Maybe people have high expectations, since Nomar Garcia-Parra was a phenomenal shortstop for the Red Sox. But as you see in the documentary, he got traded for the Cubs because he got jealous of everybody. He was angry that the Sox tried to get Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, but he was with the Yankees. Who wants that jerk anyways? Not me. Even though he is an analyst on Fox with our legend, Big Papi, Mr. Clutch himself, William Abreu is still getting hits. Maybe he's not hitting as much home runs as he did the beginning of the season, but we don't have to panic about this team. Yeah, they may be struggling tonight against the Mariners, but they're 14-11. They're right where I thought they would be. People hit the panic button because they always struggle in the beginning of the season, folks. And the Yankees are still 15-10, but the Baltimore Orioles are struggling after they made the playoffs 2 consecutive years in a row. Folks, their upcoming matchup. We got a tough series this weekend against the best team in the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians, who is led by Steve Kwan, who is their left fielder, who has been hitting the ball all over the place. They may not have Naylor as their catcher anymore, but they got the face of their franchise, who's a phenomenal batter. I believe he won the home run derby a few years ago. Jose Ramirez is a phenomenal guy. As the Guardians, sorry, I still botch. I still call the Commanders the Redskins all the time. It is all good, folks, as they are 15-9 right now. And let's preview into them about more about the Cleveland Guardians, as it's a big series. It's a 4-game series, I believe, with the Guardians, as the White Sox, who we just played, we've all finished playing them. We did catch up against them, even though losing 2 out of the 3, especially Garrett Crochet has been phenomenal for the Red Sox, as expected. As we play the Guardians Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they are currently playing our arch nemesis, the New York Yankees, right now, as Steve Kwan has had a phenomenal month for this team. But Aaron Judge, as usual, has gotten a .400 batting average for the New York Yankees, as he's captured the attention at Progressive Field, who the Red Sox have to go. Imagine how good the concessions are doing when you got the Yankees and Red Sox back-to-back, folks. It is amazing. Aaron Judge is always on. Great player. I respect the hell out of him, even though he is on the Yankees. I always respected Derek Jeter. He was one of the best hitters and fielders in the game. Infielders. I just love that guy. Speaking of infielder, Tristan Casas hit a 3-run home run last night against the Mariners to shut up critics like Tony Maserati, who's bitching about Roman Anthony's fielding, but he's hitting the ball for Worcester all over the place. And you got Marcelo Meyer kicking ass too in the minor leagues in Central Mass. It's only a matter of time before someone gets injured and they'll have to bring him up. But the Guardians have been struggling, losing 5-1 over the Yankees. But with their struggles against Aaron Judge, he's tied for the MLB lead in RBIs with who else but Polar Bear Pete Alonso for the other side of the Big Apple, the New York Mets. As the Dodgers do have some competition right now. As look, we got to pop up in the comment section. Our CEO, my man Larry B, saying, I like that jersey. Yeah, it's a Christian Gonzalez jersey. It's a throwback jersey. I love those throwbacks for the New England Patriots, as it is a phenomenal jersey. They are going to wear them again this season, as I am excited for the draft and how this Red Sox team has been playing, minus tonight. We're going to pretend we'll cover more in-depth coverage next week, as I am trying to get caught up in our sports, a lot of recordings to watch as I've been away, as I am proud of this Red Sox team, as John Henry finally spent the money, as I do think we could get 2 out of 3 against the Guardians, but I'd be happy with just 1 victory because they are 14-11. But as long as we compete for a wild card spot, I am happy with this team, as we do got the Guardians, but we go up north in Canada for the first time, as the Toronto fans can brag about us because our 9-year playoff streak for the Bruins are out, and they're currently up 2-0, I believe, against the Ottawa Senators, as maybe the Maple Leafs have something to prove, but we got to be careful with George Springer, who's been leading the AL in batting average, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who shockingly didn't home run against us the last time we were here, but he still got a lot of hits and that big money. So before we take another commercial break. We are going to move on from the Red Sox tonight, folks, as we are going to talk about our ComAv check-in for our baseball and softball. In the men's, we got the BC Eagles. We also got the Northeastern Huskies, who've been phenomenal for that team. And you got Harvard 8-22. They're doing a lot better than they were when we covered them a few weeks back. But you also got the softball teams of BC doing pretty well too, as they are maybe struggling out of the bunch, but they're 21-23, which isn't bad for the ACC. As in baseball and softball, the more I research, the more I realize the Southern teams have a year-round advantage, as they always have sun year-round. Here, it gets cold. The inconsistent New England weather makes it hard for teams to practice outside, and it makes a huge impact. And you got the BU woman, who's 30-15 with a 10-2 Patriot League record, folks. It is amazing. Maybe we do have guys that are going to make the College World Series playoffs. Most likely the Northeastern Huskies will get an automatic bid, but BC's 20-20, 9-12 in the ACC. I chose the red color because all the teams are red. When you're covering a bunch of teams at once, you can find it. Thankfully, you can find a common color with our ComAv colleges, as most of them are red or maroon as either their primary or secondary colors. BC is 20-20, but 9-12 in the ACC. They won 3 in a row after a huge walk-up win last week against Notre Dame. They got a 3-game series with Miami coming up as they look to get a skid to improve their seating in the ACC tourney. But Northeastern Huskies are phenomenal. 30-9 of the year, a 13-2 Coastal Athletic Association record, and they are on a whopping 9-game winning streak with 3 straight shutout series win against the University of Charleston. So it's either 7-0, one of the games was 10-0 and 5-0, I believe. That is phenomenal as they look to improve seeding. But the Harvard Crimson are 8-22. They do have a 3-game series against Brown coming up. But for the ladies, BC Eagles are 21-23, 5-13 in the ACC, as they got a 3-game road series against the Syracuse Orange coming up. And Harvard is 20-11, 9-6, as they got a 3-game series with Yale coming up. But the BU women are 30-15 right now, 10-2 in the Patriot League, which is pretty well for them. They don't have a baseball team, but they do make up for it with the ladies in the softball team. Didn't get enough time as I was away, as I will cover that when I get back, as we got another commercial break coming right up. Folks, we got our Boston Bruins press conference to go over, and we got a live looking at our reigning, defending heavyweight champion Boston Celtics. They just started around nearly an hour ago as they take on the Orlando Magic. And thank you for tuning in for the Beantown Sports Pound as part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Woo!
Are you a Tar Heel, Blue Devil, Demon Deacon, or maybe even a Gamecock? Do you cheer for the Panthers, the Canes, the Crown? And check out the Carolina Sports Update every week with me, Neil Curtis, to get the latest and greatest on all the sports action in the Carolinas. We'll be talking pro sports, ACC and SEC football, basketball, baseball, and everything in between. We'll even talk a little Formula One racing now and again. So, for the best hour of Carolina sports coverage, catch me each week on Carolina Sports Updates with Neil Curtis, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
The roar of the crowd, the drama and pageantry, the adrenaline rush and decadence of the world of professional wrestling. Join yours truly, the SoCal Saint, for the best pro wrestling podcast going today, the IE Wrestling Show, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Join us every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, every Wednesday, the IE Wrestling Show. It's just too woo!
All right, folks. As you saw these two commercials, you got Neil Curtis on Carolina Sports Update. Very great guy. He does really well, very energetic, covering a bunch of college teams, which is amazing. He may not like the Blue Devils. He's more of a Tar Heels guy, but as a lot of our teams will have to go through North Carolina and the colleges if they're going to want to advance. So I promoted his show. But the one show you got to keep an eye on, the IE Sports Wrestling Show, I will be guest hosting tomorrow. That is right, folks. If you want to hear about my trip on the grandest stage of them all, you're Massachusetts native that you can't see, John Cena, woof, is your 17-time world champion, breaking Ric Flair's record in the main event of WrestleMania, defeating the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. But I had a fun time in Vegas. I was safe. A lot of crazy people out there. It was fun walking by the Golden Knights Stadium and T-Mobile, where I tend to draw. The Raiders Stadium, the Black Hole, was a great game, but it's very dark. I can see why the Patriots struggled with Jacoby Myers just laddering the ball and getting screwed. But Taryn Rodriguez said, IE Wrestling Show. Close enough, though. I mentioned sports. That's our company, Taryn. But he keeps an eye on us, so it's all good. But anyways, folks, let's get into it. But before I move on to our co-headliner, the Boston Bruins, tune in tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, as I go over night 1 and night 2 recap. I talk about my trip. If you want to see what matches I like, this is a Boston sports show, so I'm going to keep it about sports. But please tune in tomorrow live on X, Twitch, or YouTube, just like you do every week with me on Wednesday nights. Do it for these guys with T5 and P Dizzle in the gang as we go through our favorite Mania moments, what we liked, didn't like. But we are going to get back on topic with Boston sports with the most disappointing at the helm, the Boston Bruins. I am not too happy because our 8-year playoff streak is finally over. Some people are jumping for joy that hate our city. It is very weird and disappointing not being too busy right now, as you got the Celtics and Bruins so used to them playing every other day, even though the NBA does take its time spacing out the first round playoff series every single year. They ended with a 33-39-10 record, folks. Not good. Boo. As we did ship a lot of our team out this year, as obviously with the departure of Brad Marchand, who's been playing with the Florida Panthers, as they are evened out with the rival Tampa Bay Lightning. As believe it or not, folks, the past 5 representatives in the Eastern Conference has been in the state of Florida, with the Lightning synonymous with winning that stupid bubble in one of those in Canada when they did that bubble for the pandemic. God, that was stupid, but it made hockey not as exciting, but they took advantage of a pandemic. As well as our arch rival Montreal Canadiens are in the play, which Alex Ovechkin got the first overtime goal for the Washington Capitals, his first ever overtime goal. Isn't that crazy to believe, folks, even though he broke Wayne Gretzky's record? But I'll be rooting for the Capitals. I do not want to see the goddamn Habs advance, as they do have Lane Hudson, who his brothers have been amazing for Boston University, leading them to a Frozen Four appearance, even though they lost to Western Michigan in the finals, folks. But anyways, back to the Bruins. They did have an emergency end of year press conference, and obviously interim head coach Joe Sacco wasn't there. As Don Sweeney announced, there will be a very competitive head coaching search for the Boston Bruins coming up, as Charlie Jacobs, the current owner of his father Jacobs, has been overseeing things since his dad's getting closer to retirement, the owner of Delaware North and the TD Garden, as they are very disappointed with the season, how the season has gone, and they believe they will be a playoff team again. He wants everyone to be confident, but they did raise their prices on season ticket holder, and everything's becoming expensive, as I learned the hard way with my trip. But everything is they have to pay for all these guys that want these big deals, as they saw with the Swayman deal. That cost them this year, trading Allmark to the Senators, who is playing in the playoffs. He hasn't had too much success against the Maple Leafs, as we saw last year with Swayman standing over his head to give the Bruins an overtime win in a 7-game series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Boy, take me back, please. But we got next year to look forward to. We don't have Charlie Coyle, Brendan Carlo, who's on the Maple Leafs now, Brad Marchand. He could wind his way back because he is an unrestricted free agent. But we do got David Pastrnak. If it wasn't for this team, they probably would be the worst team in all of the NHL besides the San Jose Sharks and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Bruins were tied with 76 points with the Philadelphia Flyers for bottom of the Eastern Conference. The Sabres have the longest playoff drought in national hockey and all of professional sports, so we can't complain too badly. They got 3 more points with the Bruins, but due to them kicking the Bruins' ass, unfortunately, early in the season, has made a huge difference for them, as the Sabres with Tage Thompson was a top 5 goal scorer along with David Pastrnak, and Leon Draisaitl and Alex Ovechkin were among the leaders as the Edmonton Oilers look to make a run for the Stanley Cup, as them and the Kings play each other every single year in the first round. It looks like death, taxes, and those two team play in the first round of playoffs are guarantees in life, as the Bruins not making the playoffs shouldn't be on that list. I hope they don't become like the Chicago Blackhawks after they lost Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews, as they've been competing for the draft picks every year. We want to compete for playoff spots. But someone just popped up the comments as our head of IE Sports Radio, whoever's using the Twitch account, saying good evening. Good evening to you too, and thank you for keeping an eye on the show, as we are in a co-headliner. As Cam Neely says, he gives an excuse saying Don Sweeney didn't get hired till 2015. And I have said in some previous episodes, our drafting skills have been horrible and has been coming back to bite us in the ass, folks, as the Bruins have been, every time we've gotten a good player, they've been trading for that player, like Tyler Bertucci a few years back. We did get him, and unfortunately, we lost him. We keep competing for the cup, but we keep making mid-season trades, except for this year, where we give up a lot of draft picks in the process, and even the guys we do draft have not been good. I know Don Sweeney wants swingers, but listen to people, please. We need a goddamn center. Yes, we have Pavel Zacha. We do have him as a guy who's been winning some faceoffs, but he's been losing a lot of faceoffs too. Patrice Bergeron, we never had to worry about that because he was one of the best players in NHL history on the faceoff. And ever since the Florida Panthers started our downfall with the Bruins, upsetting us, coming back from 3-1 to win the most regular season games in history a few years back, as Patrice Bergeron didn't get retired after that season, and it was an overtime loss when we had a 3-2 lead with under 30 seconds in that game. That is pretty painful, as it started the downfall of the Boston Bruins. Having some locker room issues all year long didn't make things easy, folks. No, it didn't, as Jacobs guaranteed that they'd be in the playoffs. Let's see how we are a year from now. I hope I'm still kicking ass with the show. IE Sports Radio goes to new heights, and we are talking playoff hockey in Boston. That's a good goal to have a year from now. let's see if Charlie Jacobs keeps his word on it. As believe it or not, a lot of people think they don't care about the Bruins, but that's not true at all. I find out from my sources otherwise that they are pretty passionate, but they keep a roll under. They're not like Jerry Jones, who's outspoken every 2 seconds. Look at the Cowboys are a joke. But anyways, the Bruins have become a joke as well, as Zadorov does show that Sean Thornton energy, trying to fight every game. And Wotherspoon has gotten some playing times in. But Morgan Geekie has been the best thing for this team all year besides David Pastrnak. It's pretty obvious. He's had a first ever 30-goal season. Hopefully we extend him as he stays in Boston for a long period of time. Maybe we'll get him on the show in the future. Who knows what I can pull, but he's got to stay and extend. He scored for that team when the season was over weeks ago. Still shows up every single game, has a great spirit. Pavel Zacha is on and off. But Zadorov has been a bright spot for the Bruins as well as we have some of our young players to bring up from Providence. But Jeremy Swayman has to have a better season, and he knows he has to have a better season. As trading Allmark should, unfortunately, they couldn't have paid him that big fat contract. If he didn't hold out, who knows how the season would have turned out this year as he struggled. He did make 2 really good games that gave him player of the week when they went 2-0 after they made all those trades, but they lost 10 in a row. And ever since 4 Nations, they struggled this year. As we are going to switch gears in a second, and let's hope they are competing. But we will have a live look into the Celtics shortly, folks, as it is time to switch gears, as we are going to go to the main event of the evening, folks. That is right. We are going to talk pretty soon about it, but let's hope we got both our teams competing next year for playoff spots. It is kind of depressing, no playoff hockey in Boston. I ain't going to lie to you, as there are a lot of NHL games going on, but the Rangers and the Penguins didn't make it either, folks. And now we are going to get to our main event segment of the evening, and it belongs to your Boston Celtics. This is my 9th episode. Coming in, the Celtics had 3 main events around with the Bruins and Red Sox for 3 each. And now they have the lead and might take that lead all summer, as if they keep improving, I can't fade them in the main event spot. No. As they won game 1, 103-86, which Derek White had a 30-point game for the Celtics, folks, as he's been helping creating great games all year long. As we are going to get into our Boston Celtics right now, folks, as they did get a 25-18 point lead in the game 1 against the Orlando Magic, as Pablo Banchero, won Rookie of the Year last year, did get 36 points for the Magic, as he went 4 for 6 on his field goal attempts. The Celtics did have the better field goal percentage, 45.1 to 42, but they had over 10 turnovers, which isn't a good thing to have. But the Magic is one of the best defensive teams in the Eastern Conference, as the Celtics only out-rebound them by 142-41 for the night, folks. As Tatum did fall, which made they are going to be without Tatum tonight, folks. That is not good, as hopefully it's not a long injury, after Kentavious Caldwell-Pope of the Magic gets a flagrant foul. It looks like he pushed Tatum so hard, similar to Sabonis on their West Coast trip to the Sacramento Kings. But the Celtics were taking control against the Magic, even though Jason Tatum was in pain, and people were chanting MVP, as he's got a lot of competition this year, as you've got SGA for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are leading 2-0 in their first round series right now, been carrying the NBA all year. Can't forget about Jokic. But it was a sigh of relief, as Derek White has stepped up for this team, as he had 30 points. But Tatum had 17 points. He didn't do that bad, as fighting with an injury. But when Tatum's been out, and a lot of these guys have been on and off injuries all season long, you saw plenty of games without Jaylen Brown, As the opening day starting five for the Celtics, White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Brown, and Tatum have only played together over 10 times, little over 10 times this year, which isn't very much. But this team has great chemistry, as Luke Cornett has played decently in the bench, same as Sam Hauser. But Banchero in game one had a double-double with 36 points and 11 rebounds. And Franz Wagner, who destroyed the Celtics a week ago in one of their final road games of the season, which prevented Celtics from breaking a road record, had 23 points from Orlando, and they have not made it out of the first round when they used to give Paul Pierce and them a hard time with Van Gundy and Dwight Howard in the 2009-2010 season. Let's hope that doesn't change this year, as the Magic did win their play-in against the Hawks. They were 41-41 all year, as they have really good with the steals. But Orlando was up in halftime by a point, but they did limit the three-point record of the Celtics that they are known for kicking ass with the Boston three-part, as the Celtics only made 7 out of 15 from the three in their 24 minutes and 16 out of 17 for that game. But the Magic did turn the ball over 6 times, and the Celtics took a pivotal 30-18 run in the third quarter. But Orlando had 4 more turnovers in a loud TD Garden, because we are pretty nuts in playoff time. People are drinking, watching their games, as it is a full-time job watching the Bruins and Celtics in the playoffs, but it'll be easier to watch the Celtics as the Bruins aren't playing, as you don't have to worry about teams playing at the same time. So they are live right now, and Jaylen Brown did drive for a big, huge slam dunk, which was amazing to watch on the highlight reel, as the Celtics did hold on and did beat them by 17. And you got a lot of these guys have minuses of over 10 of the Magic for their starting five, except Pablo Banchero, who only had a minus of 4 with his 36 points he scored. But Peyton Pritchard had a plus 13 off the bench and 19 points. Speaking of Peyton Pritchard, I predicted another one. I am so happy right now. Peyton Pritchard, NBA had their award. He's your 6th Man of the Year award. Fuck yeah. Congratulations to him, as he has won the 6th Man of the Year. He's a guy who doesn't like to start. He's broke record with a ton of threes this year, as he deserves it. There's no more deserving guy in the league. I don't care who you have. You do have SGA of the Thunder, who, even though he's not a 6th man, leading the West. You got the Nuggets, even though they were slumping and fired their coach, you can't underestimate them. You got the Lakers having competition with Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves right now, as that series is tied at 1 apiece. But the eye we need to watch on is the Detroit Pistons New York Knicks series, as Jalen Brunson facing a surprise Cinderella team. Cade Cunningham, Jaren Durant, and the Detroit Pistons, who almost had the best turnaround in history if you didn't take away our 2008 season, when Danny Ainge made a trade for KG of Minnesota and Ray Allen to make a big three with Paul Pierce. And you got Rajon Rondo being like a Peyton Pritchard, coming off the bench and scoring all these points for the Celtics. What a great year that was for basketball. As before we head off tonight and name a play of the week, we are going to take a live look in, as the Celtics are currently playing their game right now against the Orlando Magic. And it is halftime. They are up by 3 points. Without Jason Tatum, it is no surprise that they are only up by 3 right now. But holy cow, Porzingis missed all his 3-point shots so far, but has had 15 points in the game. But you got Banchero and Wagner scoring 14 points apiece, as the Celtics got to look, as they are doing a great job. They got Caldwell Pope scoring a goose egg. Ha. He deserves it after that dirty hit on Tatum the other day. Folks, as we got Jaylen Brown scoring 14 points along with Porzingis' 15. He's gone 2 for 2 for the 3-point line. But Al Horford's there, but he's been getting the rebounds, as he's been doing well all year when he has to. The former Florida Gator who won the Florida Gators won the national title, so he's got something to prove, as he wants to go back-to-back before he can retire. But Luke Cornett has gotten 6 minutes of play, but only 2 points, which is a free throw attempt. But you got Peyton Pritchard going 1 for 3 in the 3-point line. Teams do have a chance to beat the Celtics if they do limit them to 3 points a game, as they are in halftime right now, up by 3. But before we get a play of the week announcement for tonight, their next game is Sunday at 7 o'clock. Actually, Friday night, I believe. They got another 2 days off. 7 o'clock against Orlando on ESPN. And Game 4 is on Sunday at Orlando. Who knows if it's too far to say if they'll be going for the sweep. I don't think they will. The Tatum's out. The Magic are definitely going to get a game off of them. And Game 5, if necessary, network and time to be determined, will be right before we go on air on Wednesday, but it will be Tuesday. So we got potentially 3 games to cover next week, as I will have more details and covering, and I'll be watching very, very closely, folks, as let's hope we get a run. And the Bucks are currently up are down 2 games to nothing against Halliburton and the Pacers, who will look to get revenge on us. And don't forget Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers, as they are the top team right now, doing really well. As the Celtics do have some competition, but they have to get by this amazing young defensive Magic team first. But now it's time for my BMAdawg Play of the Week, baby. Ooh. It is a Celtic. Yes, it is. And the Play of the Week was Derek White for his amazing 30-plus point performance this past Sunday against the Magic. And he helped them despite Tatum's injury, stepped right up, as well as Jaylen Brown. But Derek White has stepped up instead of setting up like Jrue Holiday and him have all year. Assists, he's been taking some responsibility, getting the points, stepping up. He's joined the only 2-time Play of the Week, Jason Tatum and Peyton Pritchard, as the Celtics to get Play of the Week, folks. That is it. It is time to close. And you don't have to catch me all week. I will be making my first ever IE Sports Radio outside appearance on our wrestling show. My WrestleMania trip and John Cena, 17-time champ, about my vacation, Pound surviving, and more. You'll have to catch that 1:30 tomorrow. Next week, we'll have a better coverage on the Red Sox and a deeper coverage on potentially 3 games to cover for the Celtics. And we'll look into our Patriots draft. The draft is tomorrow, folks, in our Combat colleges, that they'll be wrapping up regular season play for the spring semester. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all. I am jet lagged, and thank you for sticking with me, folks. Woo! BMAdawg signing off.